We have an opportunity here to provide the largest tax cut in our state's history, and we should certainly do it.
The stage is set for a showdown at the Capitol over tax cuts. It comes after Texas House members approved their plan for property tax relief. The House plan would reduce school property taxes for homes and businesses. School districts would get more money from the state to offset the loss of tax revenue. But what's getting the most attention is the plan to tighten the cap on home appraisals. Right now, the state puts a 10% limit on how much a home's taxable value can rise each year. The House plan aims to control tax bills by cutting that cap to 5%. But Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says that plan leaves many Texans behind, including senior citizens. He said the House plan won't get through the Senate.
It's just the math. And the math doesn't work with appraisal caps. If they send the bill over, we're not doing appraisal caps. Period. End of story. Because they mean nothing to seniors and they mean nothing essentially to any homeowner in the state.
The Senate's plan would give tax relief by raising the state's homestead exemption. That's the amount of a home's value that's exempt from property taxes. Right now, the exemption is $40,000. The Senate plan would raise it to $70,000. All 31 senators voted for that bill. The Senate bill also gives money to school districts to offset property tax cuts, but less than half of what the House proposed. Democrat Trey Martinez Fisher tried to push a compromise amendment to the House plan. It matched the Senate's homestead exemption and called for a lower appraisal cap to make up for the lost revenue. That amendment failed. In the end, 141 of the 150 members voted to pass the House plan. Capitol correspondent Monica Madden joins us to dig deeper into the differences between these two plans. So who benefits from the Senate plan versus the House plan?
Josh, the Senate plan really focuses on homeowners, relief for them, especially those who are over the age of 65. Now, the House plan does also address relief for those homeowners, but the appraisal cap also benefits businesses and homeowners who have properties that are rapidly increasing in value, which is something that we've seen not just here in Central Texas, but all across the state.
Well, a few Democrats and Republicans voted against the House bill. Some of them were worried that the appraisal caps would lead to inequity. Why is that?
Well, that's actually happened in other states, specifically California in 1970. I spoke to Dale Kramer. He leads the Texas Taxpayers Research Association, and he explained that some of the concerns people have are really when it comes down to those tightening of appraisal caps. Take a listen.
With an appraisal cap, if I've owned my house and I've lived in it for 20 years, my taxes have been capped at a fairly low level. Person moves into the neighborhood and buys the house across the street from me. Our homes may be identical, but my property tax bill could be a third of what their property tax bill is, even though we're placing the same demands for public services.
Supporters of the bill, however, believe that the state really does need to be doing more to control those rapidly rising appraisals. They point to just how sharp those increases have been in recent years and pricing out people of their homes and businesses, Josh.
For now, the House is sticking with appraisal caps. The Senate's going with homestead exemptions. Where do we go from here?
Well, we're really at a true impasse between the two chambers. It's not really clear how this is going to end up being resolved between the two. Both sides have made property tax relief a priority, so we know they're going to get there some way. Just it's kind of a question of the differences in their details of how they think that's going to work out. They've both set aside about $17 billion aside for tax cuts. So again, homeowners are going to end up getting some relief. It's just not clear how exactly that's going to pan out, Josh.
This will be interesting to watch. Thank you very much, Monica.
Thanks for having me.
House lawmakers heard testimony Wednesday on a bill that would end the state's so-called dead suspect loophole. For years, we've investigated this loophole. It allows police to keep information secret in closed criminal cases that don't go through the court process, even when a suspect dies in police custody. El Paso Representative Joe Moody authored the bill. He says the need to close the loophole came into crystal clear focus after Uvalde. Moody cited video showing law enforcement in action, released not by authorities but by the House Investigative Committee on the Robb Elementary School shooting.
The video you've all seen of that incident is only out there because Chairman Burrows took the courageous step of announcing that he intended to release the video in violation of the law to get the truth out. If he hadn't, it would still be secret today, even for the families whose children never came home that day.
Some members of law enforcement testified against the bill. They cited concerns that unrelated and unsubstantiated allegations against officers could be made public. Moody says his bill is narrowly tailored and would not make past allegations public unless it pertained to a dead suspect. The House State Affairs Committee left the bill pending. Texas law enforcement tracks potentially dangerous street gang members, but state lawmakers are looking to reform the state's gang database as critics say it can target the wrong people and violate their rights. On Wednesday, the Texas House Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee discussed House Bill 230. It would require that people placed in the gang database be notified within 60 days, and it provides a way for people to be removed if they've been wrongfully added to the list. The bill also requires audits, and it would ban the list from being used to determine employment eligibility or limit a person's constitutional rights or impede their ability to get a state or federal license, permit, or benefit. The Texas Department of Public Safety said there are roughly 70,000 people in the database now. An audit from last year shows while DPS operates the list, the information is updated and maintained by law enforcement agencies. At the hearing, DPS acknowledged people can be put into the database without ever committing a crime, and that information is shared with federal authorities. The bill was left pending in committee. The Texas House votes to legalize testing strips that could help people detect fentanyl in their drugs. Similar legislation failed before, why supporters believe now is the time to change the law.